Asia's wealth story isn't complete without the women who've built massive companies, revived industries, and steered some of the continent's biggest fortunes. Their influence appears in factories, tech hubs, and global markets. They've shaped how business runs across entire regions, and their decisions ripple far beyond their home countries. In this video, we're looking at the top 10 richest women in Asia, the money they control, and the impact they've had on the business world. Let's get into it. Number 10. Radha Vembu. Radha Vembu is one of those billionaires who somehow stays completely off the radar, yet controls a ridiculous amount of money. She's known for her role at Zoho, the massive tech company that basically powers half the online businesses you know. While her brother is the public face, Radha is the quiet force behind some of their key products. Her journey started back in tech, where she studied industrial management, then joined her family in growing what would eventually become Zoho. It wasn't some overnight success. They built it slowly, brick by brick, until the company exploded into a global giant that competes with Silicon Valley without acting like Silicon Valley. Radha moved into leadership roles early on by shaping product development and also helping push the company into the billion-dollar arena. Radha lives a low-key life that almost makes you forget she's sitting on billions. And when I say billions, I mean real billions. The kind that makes you wonder why someone that rich is still this invisible. She has an estimated net worth of $3.2 billion, and because Zoho is a private company, that number might even be higher than we think. Basically, she's rich enough to buy entire neighborhoods if she gets bored one afternoon. The funniest part is how mysterious she is. She doesn't do flashy interviews, no dramatic fashion statements, not even a luxury lifestyle rumor. It's like she wakes up, runs a billion-dollar company, collects her billions, and goes right back to minding her business. Radha controls a huge slice of Zoho, which puts her in the league of the richest women in Asia. Quiet, insanely wealthy, and completely unbothered. A billionaire ghost who still runs one of the most successful tech companies in the world. Next, we meet a woman whose strategic moves in real estate once turned her into the richest woman on the continent. Number 9. Huiyan. Huiyan is one of those names that always shows up when people talk about serious money in Asia. She became famous for her massive stake in Country Garden, one of China's biggest real estate groups. For years, she held the title of the richest woman in China, and even though the real estate market went through a storm, her name still carries heavyweight influence. People know her as the woman who controlled an enormous property empire before she even turned 30. Her story starts with her father, Yang Guoqiang, who built Country Garden from the ground up. When Yang Huiyan graduated from university, he transferred a huge chunk of the company's shares to her. That single move instantly placed her among the richest individuals in the country. While many thought she would simply ride on the family name, she took an active role and helped expand the company's presence, pushed for development in new regions, and kept the business moving during China's property boom. Country Garden grew into a massive developer with residential projects all over China. They moved into hotels, commercial real estate, and large community developments. Yang Huiyan has been seen as the quiet engine of the company, someone who prefers strategy meetings to press conferences. She has also been involved in the company's education arm, Bright Scholar Education, which manages international schools and educational services. This gave her influence in 2 major industries and strengthened her financial position even more. Now let's talk about the money she controls. At her peak, she commanded tens of billions of dollars through her Country Garden ownership. In 2021, she had a total net worth of $27.3 billion. Even with the challenges in China's real estate sector, she still sits on a fortune that places her among the wealthiest women in Asia. With a net worth of $3.2 billion, her stake in developments, schools, and corporate assets gives her access to a level of financial power most people cannot fully imagine. If you appreciate this kind of deep dive content, take a second to like the video and subscribe. Over 99% of viewers watch without subscribing. It costs you nothing, but it helps us a ton. Thank you. Now, back to the video. Number 8. Leena Tewari. Leena Tewari is one of India's richest women and the 1,046th richest person in the world. If she is the 9th on our list, now imagine how rich the woman on number 1 is. When it comes to money, Leena is basically running her own empire. She's known for being the chairperson and managing director of USV Private Limited, one of India's largest pharmaceutical companies. If you've ever taken medicine in India, chances are she had a hand in making it. Because USV produces everything from prescription drugs to over-the-counter medicines, and they sell them in dozens of countries. Basically, her name is on products that touch millions of lives, even if no one outside the business world knows it. Leena was born into a wealthy Indian family, but she didn't just sit back and enjoy the wealth. She got educated, sharpened her skills, and eventually took the reins of the family business. USV has been around since the 1962, but under her leadership, it's grown into a global force. She started by focusing on expanding production, improving research, and getting the company into international markets. She actively shapes decisions, oversees operations, and ensures the company continues to grow year after year. According to her Forbes profile, her net worth is estimated to be $3.8 billion, and all this is thanks to her stake in USV. She owns a significant share of a company that makes hundreds of millions in revenue annually. Now, the news of her personal life made headlines for a moment when India learned about how she purchased two ultra-luxurious sea-facing duplex apartments for a whopping $4.8 million, making it the costliest apartment deal in the country's history. Her apartments are located on the 32nd to 35th floors of the iconic Namanzana Tower in Mumbai. The apartment price alone became a conversation starter, making headlines and reminding everyone just how wealthy she really is. Up next is a woman whose bold moves in aviation and finance once made her the richest self-made woman in Southeast Asia. Number 7. Nguyễn Thị Phương Thảo. Nguyễn Thị Phương Thảo is arguably Vietnam's richest woman, and when you hear how she built her fortune, you'll realize she's not just lucky, she's got serious hustle. She is best known for being the co-founder and CEO of VietJet Air, the low-cost airline that's made flying in Southeast Asia feel more like taking a city bus than boarding a luxury jet. She's also deeply invested in real estate and finance, with major stakes in a private bank, so she's far from a one-trick pony. And you won't believe the most surprising side to her is that she actually loves singing. She's got a warm, steady voice and isn't shy about singing at private gatherings. Thao grew up in Vietnam when the country was undergoing major transitions, and she used those changes to her advantage. As a young woman, she studied abroad, got into finance, and then decided to come back and disrupt her own country's industries. She became involved in building financial institutions and later pivoted into aviation and property development. Her main business became VietJet Air, which she co-launched to shake up the airline market in Vietnam and beyond. The airline's business model is about making air travel affordable, allowing a lot more people to fly. Under her leadership, VietJet has grown rapidly, expanding its footprint across Southeast Asia and operating a modern fleet. Along with the airline, she has serious holdings in real estate, putting up buildings, developing commercial properties, and she's a major player in Vietnamese banking. When it comes to lifestyle, Thao doesn't always flaunt her wealth in a Hollywood style, but make no mistake, she's living large. She reportedly owns luxury real estate and travels in style. She also has a taste for big-ticket investments that reflect her business status. Talking about money, her net worth is astronomical. Her net worth is estimated to be $4.4 billion. Thanks to her sizable ownership in VietJet and her other businesses, she controls an empire that spans aviation, real estate, and banking. Next, we see a woman whose leadership in petrochemicals has built her a fortune that ranks among Asia's richest companies. Number 6. Fan Hongwei. Fan Hongwei is one of the most powerful women in China's industrial world. People know her as the woman behind Hengli Petrochemical, a company that has climbed so high in the petrochemical space that you almost forget it started from much smaller beginnings. She's the executive who turned chemicals, oil refining, and polyester production into a money machine. Her story starts long before the billions. She came from a background where discipline and hard work were normal, and when she stepped into the business world, she carried that same mindset. She got involved in what would later grow into the Hengli Empire and worked through the kind of challenges that usually crush companies during expansion. Instead of slowing down, she pushed forward, studied the market, took smart risks, and helped transform Hengli into one of the largest privately owned petrochemical companies in China. Her rise was steady and intentional, nothing overnight or lucky about it. Today, Hengli is everywhere. The company refines crude oil and produces the polyester fiber that ends up in clothing, packaging, and many of the everyday items people never think twice about. If you look around your house right now, there is a good chance some products came from a Hengli facility. Fan is known for being deeply involved in operations and planning. She likes to understand how the business works from the inside, not just sit in a boardroom and sign documents. Now, with all this success, you might expect her to be flashy. She is the opposite. Fan keeps a very private lifestyle. She moves quietly, which somehow makes the size of her wealth feel even bigger. When you rarely see someone but you keep hearing their name on rich lists, that says something. As for the money she controls, it is huge. Her ownership and influence within Hengli place her firmly among the wealthiest women in Asia, with a net worth of $5.5 billion. The company handles billions in assets, and she benefits directly from that scale. Every time Hengli grows, her net worth rises along with it. Next, we meet a woman whose sharp eye for real estate investments made her one of China's wealthiest figures. Number 5. Wu Yajun. Wu Yajun is one of those women whose bank account can make an entire country blink twice. She's known for being a real estate powerhouse in China, and her rise is the kind of story people love to tell, mostly because it sounds impossible until you hear it. She co-founded Long4 Properties, which grew into one of the biggest real estate companies in the entire country. This includes shopping malls, high-end apartments, and commercial complexes. But here's the part that always gets people. Before all the billions, Wu Yajun started out as a journalist, a regular reporter writing stories, not luxury developers writing billion-dollar checks. She worked at a local newspaper, earned a modest salary, and was just living her life. Then she switched into real estate, teamed up with her husband at the time, and that decision flipped her entire destiny. The woman went from interviewing people about their lives to building the places they wish they could afford. Long4 took off quickly, and the company expanded across major cities, launched huge development projects, and became a heavyweight in China's booming real estate market. By the time the world realized how successful she was, she had already joined the ranks of the richest women in Asia. Now, about her money, her Forbes profile estimates her net worth to be $6.6 billion, and even after the ups and downs in China's real estate sector, she still controls serious money. Enough to buy skyscrapers the way some people buy new phones. Wu Yajun remains one of the most powerful women in the Asian business world. Billionaire, developer, strategist, and someone whose success didn't come from luck. She built it step by step until she was too wealthy for anyone to pretend not to notice. The next woman's savvy leadership in tech and outsourcing turned her into one of Asia's most successful self-made billionaires. Number 4. Tai Li. Tai Li is one of those billionaires who can walk into a room and you wouldn't even know she controls a tech empire worth more than what some countries run on. She's best known as the powerhouse behind SHI International, a massive IT solutions company that serves everyone from Fortune 500 giants to the brands you buy from every day. She's the CEO, the major owner, and the quiet force that turned SHI into a multi-billion-dollar juggernaut. Her story starts in Thailand, where she was born, and before her family later moved to South Korea. She eventually made her way to the United States for school. And this is where things get crazy. Tai didn't study tech the way you'd expect. She studied economics, and then went for her MBA. However, at some point in her career, she simply saw an opportunity in the IT world and moved on with the confidence of someone who already knew she'd win. Her rise happened when she and her then-husband bought a small, struggling tech company. Most people would have run from that kind of business, not Tai. She rolled up her sleeves and transformed it into SHI International, which is now one of the biggest tech providers in the world. We're talking billions in annual revenue, tens of thousands of clients, and a reputation that makes big corporations line up for her services. Tai Li also controls the kind of wealth that makes you pause for a second. She's consistently one of the richest self-made women in the world. She's currently on a net worth of $7.8 billion, according to her Forbes profile. And unlike many billionaires who love the spotlight, Tai moves like someone who's focused on business first. Her money comes from the company she built, the clients she secured, and the massive market SHI dominates. It's real power, real control, and real influence. The next woman on our list rose from a mere factory worker to one of the richest women in the world. Number 3. Zhou Kunfei. Zhou Kunfei is one of the most impressive women in the global tech manufacturing space. People know her as the founder of Lens Technology, the company that makes the glass screens for some of the biggest phone brands in the world. She became famous for turning a small workshop into a multi-billion-dollar manufacturing empire. Her story begins far from luxury. Zhou grew up in a rural part of China and worked several factory jobs to support herself. She eventually learned how to make watch lenses and decided to open her own little workshop. She worked around the clock, took shifts no one wanted, and kept improving her craft until bigger companies started noticing the quality of her work. A major turning point came when tech companies needed durable glass for their devices. Zhou stepped in with skill, speed, and a serious understanding of what the market needed. Lens technology took off quickly. It grew into a massive operation that supplies screens for smartphones, tablets, and other electronic devices. Her company became one of the most important suppliers in the tech world. Zhou moved from working a single machine to running factories filled with advanced equipment, thousands of employees, and production lines that never sleep. She took part in every stage of the business and understood each detail, from materials to manufacturing. Most of her energy goes into her factories and business operations. People around her describe her as hardworking and focused, even with the kind of money that could let her take a permanent vacation. When it comes to money, she controls a massive fortune. Her stake in lens technology places her among the richest women in Asia. At her peak, her net worth on the Forbes list puts her at an estimated $10 billion. Her company also generates billions in revenue, and her share of it places her in a financial league that very few people anywhere in the world ever reach. The next woman's vision in pharmaceuticals turned her into one of Asia's wealthiest and most powerful figures. Number 2. Zhang Huiyan. Zhang Huiyan is one of the most powerful women in the global pharmaceutical world. People know her as the woman behind Hansoh Pharma, one of China's biggest drug manufacturing companies. She built her fortune in an industry that demands precision, patience, and serious brainpower. While many billionaires come from tech or real estate, Zhang made her money by producing the medicines people rely on every single day. Her rise didn't begin with a wealthy background or a ready-made empire. She actually started out as a chemistry teacher. Yes, a teacher. She spent years in a classroom before she decided to make a massive shift. She left teaching, entered the pharmaceutical business, and built Hansoh from the ground up along with her husband, who was already experienced in the industry. Zhang handled leadership, planning, and development, and step by step, the company grew into a pharmaceutical powerhouse that produces drugs for cancer treatment, cardiovascular conditions, infections, and more. Hansoh Pharma became known for research, quality, and consistency. The company supplies hospitals across China and has expanded into global markets. Zhang is not the loud, high-profile type of CEO. She prefers to stay in the background and run the business with a calm, steady hand. Her success came from studying the market carefully and focusing on long-term growth instead of quick wins. What makes her even more interesting is her lifestyle. You won't see Zhang throwing huge parties, flaunting jewelry, or turning up on magazine covers for her wardrobe. She has a very quiet, disciplined way of living. No big drama, no flashy entrances. She spends her time managing the company and staying completely focused on the business. Her low profile almost makes people forget that she is one of the richest women on the continent. Now let's get into the money. Her net worth runs into the billions. When Hansoh Pharma went public, her wealth shot up instantly, and currently her net worth is estimated to be $20.4 billion. She controls a massive portion of the company, and that alone gives her financial power that could make most CEOs nervous. Even during market ups and downs, Zhang's stability in pharma keeps her positioned among Asia's wealthiest women. And finally, we meet the woman at the very top of Asia's richest list, whose control over steel and power empires has made her a true industrial titan. Number 1. Savitri Jindal. Savitri Jindal is one of the most famous women in India's business world. People know her as the matriarch of the Jindal family, a dynasty that controls huge parts of India's steel and power industry. When you hear the name Jindal in India, you're talking about factories, plants, energy, projects, and a lot of money moving around. Savitri sits right at the center of that influence. Her story didn't begin with her stepping straight into leadership. Her husband, Om Prakash Jindal, built the foundation of the empire. After he passed away, Savitri stepped in and took charge of the business. Many people expected the company to struggle, but she proved them wrong with solid decisions and steady management. She guided each part of the business while keeping the family united. Under her watch, the group expanded its steel operations, grew its energy sector, and strengthened its presence across several states in India. The Jindal Group today works in steel production, power generation, cement, infrastructure, and more. Savitri oversees a huge network of factories, plants, and projects. She is seen as the stabilizing force behind it all. She manages the overall direction of the business and keeps an eye on how each division performs. Her lifestyle is calm and grounded. Savitri does not spend her days showing off cars, private jets, or fancy shopping sprees. She lives the way many traditional businesswomen in India do, with simplicity and a lot of focus. You won't see her on social media posing with luxury brands. She keeps her energy on family, business, and philanthropy. Even with her enormous wealth, she prefers quiet influence over flashy attention. Now let's talk about the money she controls. Savitri Jindal is extremely wealthy. Her net worth sits comfortably at $34.4 billion, placing her as the richest woman in Asia. She oversees one of the largest industrial fortunes in the world and benefits from an empire that produces steel, power, and industrial materials on a massive scale. The Jindal Group's assets are huge, and her position at the top gives her access to a level of financial power matched by very few. We've looked at the women who shaped Asia's wealth scene, from real estate giants to steel matriarchs, tech builders, chemical bosses, and the quiet billionaires who control more money than most countries. These are the women who turned ideas into industries and industries into serious fortunes. But what if I told you a black woman is taking over America by storm? Check out our next video on the richest Nigerian woman in America. You'll be stunned by the empire she has been building while staying almost invisible to the public.